You've probably spent a few minutes scrolling through endless VR headset options, wondering if you'll end up with a box that looks amazing on paper but turns into a pricey paperweight on your desk. The fear of splurging on the wrong rig is real, especially when you're eyeballing a headset that promises ultra-sharp visuals and a field of view wide enough to make you feel like you're really inside a cockpit. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What makes the Pimax Crystal Super stand out isn't just the headline numbers, it's how those numbers translate when you actually strap the thing on for a flight sim session or a high-speed racing game. At 3840 pixels per eye you get a density that rivals top-end monitors, and the 140-degree horizontal field of view pushes you past the tunnel vision most headsets give you. That's the kind of immersion that lets you spot a runway marker at the edge of your vision instead of having it pop into view like a surprise. If you're the type who spends weekends in Microsoft Flight Simulator, X-Plane, or a racing title like iRacing, the extra visual fidelity can be a game changer. The extra pixels mean you can read cockpit panels without leaning in, and the ultra-wide view gives you peripheral cues that help with spatial awareness essential when you're threading a hairpin turn at 150 miles per hour. In practice, the clarity holds up even during fast head movements. The headset's QLED panels keep the image sharp enough that motion blur feels more like a slight smear than a wall of fuzz. On the flip side, that same level of detail demands a powerful PC. The Crystal Super runs best with a graphics card that can push close to 100 frames per second at those resolutions, otherwise you'll notice the variable refresh rate dipping into the low 70s, which can feel jarring in fast-paced sim sessions. If your rig is still on a mid-range GPU, you might spend more time tweaking settings than actually enjoying the visuals. So, the headset is really geared toward people who already have a high-end gaming PC or are willing to upgrade to get the most out of those pixels. One of the biggest headaches with VR headsets is eye distance, IPD, alignment. The Crystal Super automates that with a motorized adjustment that slides from 58mm to 72mm, covering the majority of users without manual fiddling. In real-world use I found the system took a couple of seconds to settle after I moved the headset, and once it locked in, the image stayed crisp across the whole lens. That means you won't be squinting or seeing double if you're on the lower or higher end of the IPD spectrum, which is a relief for anyone who's struggled with static lenses before. Comfort is another practical concern, especially for the long sessions flight sims are known for. The headset's weight is distributed across a padded strap that sits on the forehead rather than the nose bridge, which reduces pressure points that typically cause fatigue. I was able to stay in the cockpit for 3 straight hours without needing to pause for a break, something that many users with heavier headsets can't claim. However, the larger optics required for that 140-degree view do add a bit of bulk, so you'll need a decent amount of headroom. It's not the kind of headset you'll wear comfortably while also trying to read a physical manual. Tracking flexibility is a subtle but important factor for sim enthusiasts. The Crystal Super supports external lighthouse trackers, which many high-fidelity setups already have. If you already own a Valve Index base station array, you can plug the headset into that ecosystem and get sub-centimeter tracking accuracy, letting you lean in to inspect a cockpit switch or look over your shoulder without any drift. For people who don't have lighthouse stations, you'll need to invest in them separately, which adds to the overall cost of entry. Audio isn't always top of mind when you're talking about specs, but clear communication matters in multiplayer sims where you need to hear teammates over engine roar. The built-in high-fidelity microphone on the Crystal Super picks up speech clearly without picking up a lot of ambient noise, making team coordination feel natural. It's not a full surround solution, but for a headset that's primarily focused on visual performance, it's a pleasant surprise that the mic doesn't feel like an afterthought. Now, who should actually click add to cart and who should walk away? If you are a hardcore simulator pilot, a professional racer, or a VR content creator who needs the most detail possible, the Crystal Super offers a visual canvas that few other headsets can match. The combination of ultra-wide FOV, high pixel density, and adaptive IPD makes it a strong contender for anyone who values precision and immersion over budget constraints. On the other hand, Casual gamers who mostly play indie titles or sit-down shooters will probably find the extra resolution unnecessary, especially when a more affordable headset can still deliver a smooth experience at 90 Hz. Likewise, anyone whose PC can't comfortably push 80+ frames at 4K per eye should consider a lower resolution model too.